trade today. We have back on the Leafs jerseys. Din has like 10 Leafs jerseys, but decided to wear a Raptors one today to show off the biceps, I guess. The Raptors are doing well too, but big trade today. As predicted here, you heard it here first. I think quite
you
literally.
You actually heard it here probably first. Yeah, legit first.
16th. We got Mark Giordano, Toronto boy, for 2 seconds in 2023, 2024, and a third.
It only took me about 2 seconds to finish.
And we also got Colin Blackwell, who we'll get into a little bit as well, but let's focus on the main guy who's going to slot in to our top four. Mark Giordano, first impressions. Let's start with you, Mark, and then we'll go down to you, Din.
Yeah, we've been talking about him all year, and now it's reality. He's here. Hopefully he's going to be paired up with Brody again, reunite them, and hopefully we don't let as many shots go on net.
Din, your thoughts?
We're going to win the cup. You're here first.
Was the missing piece?
I'm just glad that, because it's funny. We've been saying this in the group a bunch, that you're like, oh, that's too much to give up. That's too much to give up. That's too much to give up. And I'm like, does it fucking matter if they make it further than us? Right? Like, if they gave up too much for Sherratt, but they make the third round, did they give too much up for Sherratt? Right? Like, we have these magic bag of beans of Matthew Nyes and Topi Niemela, but we don't know what they're going to be. And also, are we even going to be good when they're good?
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you care about Topi Niemela when we're in 18th overall? Maybe you hate him because he's making us too good and you want a better draft pick.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do think that we have
they were massive.
We have an eight-year window.
We can have an 8-year window. You're 100% correct. And we've talked about this. Would you rather 2 really, really, really good years or 6 decent years?
Well, here's the other thing. Not to get too far into the future because we got to focus on the now. But in I think 2 or 3 years, JT's contract comes off the books for $11 million. He'll probably re-sign with the Leafs for a hell of a lot less and be a shadow of his former self playing on the wing.
That's definitely a part of this.
As the salary cap goes up, as expected, it would. So that window could last very long because there's no way we can re-sign Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, and we have Riley. We have a very good I think 8-year window coming up, if not even longer, to be the next Detroit or Pittsburgh, right? So, but let's stick a little bit more with the now. How happy
right now we're in our prime, so bringing him in because he only has a year, maybe takes that discount and stays for one more.
That's so valuable.
Now.
Mm-hmm.
That's so valuable, even if he's a 4th or 5th guy who's making $900K.
Yeah,
it's worth. That's why when I brought up that tweet of Brandon Hagel and people were oh, they're paid too much. Guy who can play second line minutes, it's paid $1.5 million for 2 years. That's insane. Anyone who's getting paid under $4 million that can play a legitimate role.
Well, Kasha
is. I mean, fuck no, because you have to play NHL hockey games to be good, unfortunately. But yeah,
that's another interesting.
Bunting's value next year is going to be even more than this year in my own head, because we know what we're walking in with. Because we wouldn't, if you knew Bunting existed, we wouldn't have signed Nick Ritchie.
Yeah.
Right. Which we do know next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It seems like a guy like Kampf, we know it's going to be good next year. Right. If we sign Kasha to $1.5 million, if his brain isn't scrambled eggs by now, we know what we're getting with him in 42 regular season games. But no, I think this is a perfect fit. I'm glad they didn't overpay for things, because Dangle said something why don't we, was it Dangle that said why don't we sell? And it's he kind of has a small, no, you don't get what he was trying to say. Why keep Ilya Mikheyev? If someone's going to give you a second round pick for Ilya Mikheyev, a decent second round pick.
Yeah.
Why keep him? You have a guy that's so close to replacing him. And we know at the end of the day, unless the core four do something, it doesn't matter. Right now, I'm glad we didn't, but objectively, people are going to pay this much. Why not? If someone wants fucking Kerfoot for a first rounder, have at it. Would we be better without him? Yes. But if you really want to hold on to these guys, then you have to be kind of thinking both ways, wouldn't you? Once again, I'm not saying that. I'm happy we have Giordano. I think it's the perfect move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think that we're done. We can get into whether we think it's going to be a forward or goalie.
I think we might be done, might not be. I think it's not like Dubas's phones are turned off.
Yeah. Just ideal lines. How good does this sound? If you Brody and Gio, Riley and Boosh, and Muzzin and Sandine. How nice.
Sounds great. Yeah, but if Johnny, Willie, and Austin and Mitch don't score, it doesn't matter.
Right, but you can say that like literally any team.
If we're a first line team again, we're done.
If 2 people don't score out of the 4, we're not doing anything.
Right.
And just 2. Only 2 of them need to not play well, and we won't do anything. It doesn't matter.
Right, but once again, you can say that about Barkov.
But that's why I'm glad we didn't fucking overpay for people.
Yeah,
I get, but like I also get why teams would.
I don't even know if we mentioned what we gave up for the 2. It was 2 seconds and a third.
2 seconds and a fourth, isn't it? Whatever, it doesn't
something like that.
Giving up seconds is
no first, so we get to keep up.
Yeah. And was it retained? I actually didn't get to see a lot of it. 50%? I just literally opened my phone. 50%. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I have a little trivia question for you guys. All right. So in the last time we made it past the first round was 2004. I know.
Who did you find that stat? I haven't heard that one.
Who did we at the trade deadline trade for in 2004?
Was that was pre-lockout, right?
Yeah, 2000.
Brian Leach.
Yep, and
Owen Nolan.
That was the year before. One more guess.
Niedermeyer.
No, Ron Francis.
No, I was going to say that. Fuck.
The Seattle Kraken.
That's a lot, dude. That would have been so rock star if we got to do that now.
If this is anything, Brian Leach, if you want to compare him to Giordano, whatever. But
that's the best defense been on the Leafs in the last 20 years, by the way.
Yeah. What was traded.
It's legit.
This is just to give context for people who are like
he?
so scared about picks being traded. He was traded for a first rounder who ended up being Chris Chuko. Anyone know who that is?
I wanted to say something. I'd like to make a public announcement. Why do we care about picks when the only ones on our team are guys who were picked in the first 7 spots?
Well, this is my point. Is you got traded for Brian Leach.
Maybe that's why we suck.
We traded for New York Rangers picked Chris Chuko in the first round.
Wait. Yeah.
Second round was Michael Sauer. And then we also traded Maxim Kondratiev and Jarkko Immonen. And then for Ron Francis, we traded we got him from Carolina for a 4th rounder who ended up being Jared Bowl. So
Francis was pretty done by then though, wasn't he?
Right, yeah.
But Leach was actually good. We got robbed of that fucking lockout Leafs team. Because Leach had another year.
Well, there's no salary cap, so we could, and we were we were the New York Yankees of the NHL.
No,
right?
I'm just saying, like Brian Leach didn't want to fucking stay with us.
Yeah, so I am totally down for spending picks because of all the prospects we do have that can come in our window, right? And then I'm cool with just doing another rebuild and doing it all over again.
That's the thing, right? I understand the point of like
either way.
Do you want to be the San Jose Sharks? I don't.
No, because in the end, they had nothing to show for it. Everyone's going to forget about it.
Yeah, they'll go back, be like, "Oh, look at that 2018 Sharks team. They were nasty. How didn't they do anything?" And that's it, right? Yeah. It's like when you're on vacation, you see like a really cool the pyramids. That's really cool. All right, what's next?
Right, like very thinking niche. Back to like 2010, like I bet there was a San Jose Shark of like that decade, 2000 to 2010, but no one's gonna remember. Nah. It's gone. Mm-hmm. So you have to win, or else it's been for nothing.
Yeah.
I think even making the Cup Finals, even conference finals, you got a little bit
of Cup
final
show.
Yeah. I mean,
at least you get the championship banner.
Like you get to be there.
Time. Who is talking about the Habs being the Cup final last year?
Everyone, all the time. We talk about it all the time, but we go, how the fuck they do it?
Well, yeah.
Now
we talk about it the most, actually. I thoroughly enjoy talking about it.
So we're all fans of the Gio trade.
That's exactly what I thought we'd have to give up.
Yeah.
Which is great because that was before we saw prices on everything else.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of the other trades around the NHL and what we think of them, but let's just talk about the other moves that the Leafs made. Travis Dermott is in Vancouver now. We got a third round pick. So in the end, I guess it could be 2 seconds and Dermott plus some salary shed.
Dermott is nothing. Dermott is nothing. Like getting that third is a third for put him a part of that deal, but pretend Dermott doesn't even exist.
Right, and $1.5 million of cap space.
Yeah.
The other move was Peter Mrazek was put on waivers. I saw a few people questioning why that happened. I don't really know why we have to explain.
What's buried?
1.5?
Yeah.
So we saved 1.5 or 1.5 is buried.
We save, so half of it is still part of our salary cap unless he gets claimed,
1.9.
then the full thing goes.
So we saved 1.9, but Kallgren makes 900.
Please claim him.
Yeah, I think
Kallgren. What Kallgren makes 750 or 9, probably 9. So we save $1 million technically.
Yeah.
Technically it's $1 million, which is still awesome, right?
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see too. I don't think any of us is expecting Cash to come back anytime soon. So I don't know how it works in terms of like, it would, obviously we hope the best for him and we hope that he is able to come back. But that 1.5 million of cap space, if he can be put on LTIR before the end of the trade deadline,
1.25.
could be, it's only 1.25, could be very huge, right? Especially if Mrazek gets claimed, there could be up to like $4 or $5 million in cap space, which would mean that you wouldn't have to pay extra to retain on a guy like Raquel,
which saves you like a round,
right?
Which shifts
Raquel
you
would
around.
be so awesome,
and that's even if Muzzin comes back, right? So that would be where I would go. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on the question now between goaltending and a top 6 winger? Because a lot of people are still saying, should we really trust the goalies?
It's Fleury or nothing. And if you can't get Fleury, then it's nothing because there's no one else.
I mean,
Stolarz isn't the fucking answer. The answer is Jack Campbell plays like Jack Campbell plays, or Kallgren plays like Binnington.
Right, just the carousel of goalies we've had the last like 4 years. There's no way I
have fun on carousel, Schmitty. I have fun. This isn't fun.
This isn't fun anymore.
This isn't fun. Mom, get me off this goddamn carousel. I want to go.
Yeah. Get this to forward.
Does anyone here have any interest in James Reimer?
No, because really. Then what are you doing saying to Jack?
Yeah.
Well, essentially, not to say that I agree necessarily, but essentially what you're saying is, hey, here's a guy that's supposed to be Peter Mrazek, same with Stolarz. And
I know, but we don't need a Peter Mrazek with 20 games left in the season. If our backup has to play, we're not winning.
Yeah.
Look at fucking Colorado. Francouz had to come in last year. They were screwed. No, well, Hutchison had to come in too.
Yeah,
they were extra screwed.
I think if Francouz was still there, I think Colorado would have made it farther into the playoffs than if Hutchison had to come in.
Yeah.
But I think Kallgren looks amazing. He played, even though he let in 4 or 5 goals last night, he still played.
I saw the highlights. That tip-in was unreal.
Yeah, like there was, like he just made some really big saves, especially in the third. We just didn't play well. But we're going to kind of, just because we're excited with the trade, we're going to kind of skip over that game because we've
concluded it's irrelevant now.
Yeah, it's irrelevant now. We have a whole new team because we got a 38-year-old.
We didn't. What was it? We yeah, fuck.
Should we get on to Blackman?
Blackwell, yeah.
Charlie Blackman, the center fielder for Colorado Rockies, or
so 5'9", fourth line player.
I had him on my fantasy team last year for a bit.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He was doing well for like 3 days.
I think he has 17 points in 37 games, something like that. He has a lot of speed, so it'll be interesting to see what we do with Simmons because it's clear that the coaching staff is finally saying, okay, man, you're not doing it. So you're going to be a healthy scratch.
No, it's more that the second line ain't doing shit. So it's making the fourth line look worse. Because then you go, oh shit, we only have one line that scores. Right? It was they were okay if they were going to just do whatever the hell they did. But if that second line stops, and that's why I was talking to my brother yesterday. He's like, Engvall, Kampf, and McCabe look like a great third line. I said, you know what, they look even better? A great fourth line.
Yep.
Right. That can like split more like you eat a couple of their minutes and add it to whatever fourth line isn't complete crap.
Yeah.
Because their fourth line is crap.
Well, I mean, I think we're all here. We've been talking in group chat in agreement that our first and second line should be Nylander, Matthews, and Tavares Marner. Because when Marner and Tavares were together, when Matthews was out, and they were playing against the shutdown roles because there was no Matthews, they were still lighting it up. So if you can play Tavares and Marner against not shutdown roles and wake Nylander up, because what the hell has he been doing the last couple months?
We only thought it was all Tavares. I don't think it is.
Yeah, and you can say
also, if you can't wake up beside the fucking captain of the team.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He said before, like, there's been quotes saying like he needs to Keefe to basically like.
But that's him. Like, dude, that's like you talking to your girlfriend and be like, hey, sometimes I'm a piece of shit that has to swear at you and call you a bitch. You just have to let me know when I'm doing that. It's like, you're already aware. You fucking fix it yourself.
Right. Granted, but I get
the self-awareness, which is nice, which is like a breath of fresh air for a player that objectively doesn't look like he cares all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, if you know that, fix it.
You're still paying under $7 million for a guy who can be the absolute best player on the ice 50% of the time, and the other time he's just good.
Guess what? I want it to be a severe underpay because it can be.
Yeah, obviously, but
we've got go quote our podcast when there's plenty of times when we say he was the best player on the ice, or he can be the best player on the ice.
Yeah, I just think that if he plays up with, I think you have to try that. And granted, the Bunting Matthews
Marner line, done it.
The Bunting Matthews Marner line has objectively been in the top 3 lines.
The nice part is if it doesn't work, I just put it back. All right, I don't think it's gonna like break.
I don't see how it couldn't.
No, yeah, exactly right. Oh, you only have the best scorer, one of the best playmakers, and Michael Bunting, who's been a complete breath of fresh air. It's gonna work if you like pull it away for a month, and then put it back. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and a fourth line of Kerfoot, Blackwell, and Spezza is a fast. Other than Spezza, but it's a fast fourth line, which is what you need in the playoffs. You need a guy line that buzzes around. Against
fourth lines.
Yeah.
Fourth lines suck.
Clifford was also sent on waivers today.
Thank God, man.
That
I just don't see him as a Leaf. Like, he's not Clifford? A Toronto Maple Leaf to me.
Yeah. Really? Mark, what do you think of Clifford?
I like Clifford.
Yeah, he's fine.
Like, to me,
his limited time, he did more than Simmons.
Yeah, that's a low bar.
Comparison.
That's a low bar.
Yeah. Well, they're both the same player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're both just there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like they're making league min, aren't they? Ish. Or not Simmons.
Oh, no. Like, I'm not giving any shit to Simmons. He just can't play on this team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And fuck, dude, if any of you say, oh, but what if we need him? I'm going to shut the laptop.
What if we need the grit?
I'm going to shut the laptop. What if we need the grit? No, he doesn't provide any grit. None.
Yeah, he's not.
You know why? All. Because the guy who plays 6 minutes, the top 6 guys that are the guys that need to score, don't give a shit. When Simmons goes on the ice, they put their heads down and drink their Gatorade and wait till then Keefe tells them to go back out. Yeah, I watched a fight between Cassian on Calgary and whoever or Edmonton and whoever the fuck they're facing, New Jersey, and it was their fighter. And all the players just kind of turned away while they fought. They don't care.
No way.
They don't care. They don't care. Yeah. They don't care when fighters fight and it's planned. They don't care, right? And Simmons can't throw a big hit because he would have to get close enough to someone to do that.
But if Spezza drops the gloves in game 5,
well, that's the thing. Anyone that actually can play, because it's like, holy shit, this guy cares.
Which is why
he doesn't need to fight.
I'm really liking Engvall's attitude change the past month, especially is he's getting in scuffles all the time. And that's just like nice to see because he has the size, right? And let's look at our defense now. We have Muzzin, Gio, and Bush, who are all big guys who will play physical. You don't need Simmons to fight because there's going to be no fights, but those guys can all throw the body and push people out of the net. So, like the other question that I want to get your guys' opinion on, because I've been seeing a lot on Twitter about Matthew Nye slotting into the top 6.
Dude, stop.
So
I hate
that's my reaction to is it's just like he played well in the Olympics, but to play on a top 6 on a cup contending team at 19 or 20, who is only a point game
find
player
me that. Find me
in
one.
the NCAA.
Find me one.
Yeah, I would rather see him next. I'd rather see him next year. And I wouldn't want to see him on a 4th line. I would rather let him play in the AHL when they make it to the playoffs.
You can play him as 5 games or 7 games or whatever. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right? We know we're going to make the playoffs, so just like do it. Like I do want to see him play, and obviously he plays really well, but don't slot him in. Right, like how much is that spitting in like Kasha and like Kerfoot's face?
Even Robertson.
Yeah, and Robertson's face. That this guy coming out of college that was a late second round pick, no less than a year ago. Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, yeah, it was last. Yeah.
Fucking Jesus, guys.
Well,
come on.
Okay.
Come on.
To be fair,
the
NHL, as much as like it is a meritocracy, the better you play, the more opportunities you get.
I can't spell that word.
So slap in the face, say whatever you want. If the guy comes in for 5 games, puts up some points and plays well. I just
told you to play him.
Right. But what I'm saying is like you said it's kind of a slap in the face if you just like keep
put in a Twitter post that he's just gonna jump in. And a day before the trade deadline, we're like, okay, so we're gonna take the biggest coin flip of all time. Or we just go get a top 6 forward.
Raquel. That is why people hate Leaf fans.
Yeah,
you know what?
That's why. That is 100% why. They take a guy that they went, hey, if they redrafted right now, it'd be in the top 15. You know what that means? He might be picked 13th, 14th, or 15th. Everyone go look at the 2021 draft and go look who's drafted 13th, 14th, and 15th. And I guarantee you they're not in the NHL.
Well, even most of the top 10 guys aren't in the NHL. Mark, what were you going to say?
Where's our Josh Ho-Sang debut? Do you think he gets one at this point?
You'd have to sign an NHL contract. That's the problem.
Yeah. So
it would be
not this year.
Could they do that?
I think you do get expanded rosters, but I think that they're going to probably just leave him in the AHL, and then next year when they need to fill up more roster spots, that'll be a time where he gets a league min contract.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And he gets an off season with the team.
Yeah. And this is his first year coming back to like the North American ice and everything like that. So give him some time.
That has to be the reason he'd already be gone by now if that wasn't true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll ask Nick when he comes on this week about how Ho-Sang has been looking. Granted, he had an injury partway through the year.
From
so
Barden's
that as well.
Twitter too, it looks like Steves and like Sini are more like the guys.
Well, even Blandisi is playing awesome right now.
And Duszak, who was playing forward for a bit, which is hilarious.
Well, and Duszak, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, there was a thing, who knows how true it is, but he was kind of asking for a fresh start somewhere because he's probably sees himself as an NHL player, and there's no room.
Play for the Arizona Coyotes.
Well, it's like he could be someone that's involved in another trade, right? Someone like Anaheim could use a guy like that because their defense just lost Lindholm and Manson. So they have some space on a rebuilding team, which would be a nice Raquel trade. Now, first round pick.
It would be
first round pick and Duszak for Raquel. Who says no?
That's fair.
I've seen who says no tweets way too much, and I'm turned off by them now.
No, because I don't click on them anymore because I hate looking.
Who says yes?
Yeah. It's like 4th and a 7th for McDavid. Who says no? And it's like, oh, Toronto. That 4th. Have you seen Toby Niamolo was a 4th round pick? It could be him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mark, would you take that trade, or are you?
Yeah. Get him in. I don't even care what we get left.
Yeah.
Right. The problem is why you do these things, and I know hindsight, but like we get out in the first round.
Yeah.
We lose by 1 goal. And
that was a terrible
trade. Let's say we have 3 1-goal games, and you go, fuck.
Right. Yeah. Well, you've already traded a couple seconds for Gio. You might as well make the next trade.
Yeah. I've already seen.
And that first round pick will not be a player that's useful to line up for 5 years. Sorry, Matthew Knies fans. Yeah. I mean, useful to the team.
And Dan, I already seen that this Giordano trade sure feels like Foligno last year.
No.
Gio does not have an injury history.
Let's not jinx him here.
Yeah. And he's been playing. This is the other thing too that I think people like. He's been playing top line minutes on a bad team and still done relatively well. And he's coming to his hometown team where he'll be probably more sheltered. He'll probably be playing around 20 minutes, if not a little bit less.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like the opportunity for this guy is just gonna he's gonna surprise.
We said this guy's perfect because do you think he's gonna be? I think there's other than getting injured. I don't even count that as anything because we're trading for a 38-year-old defenseman. There's no chance he's a disappointment. There's a chance he's not as good as we want. Like you're kind of like pumping his tires a bit, like, hey, this could happen, but
no, I think this is a perfect trade, better than even I had expected. I thought it would probably have to cost more because of the Lindholm deals, but that brings us, we'll get off. I know we're mostly all Leafs all the time, but we'll get off and just talk about some of the other deals because it does directly affect the Leafs in the Atlantic. Let's start with the Giroux trade.
Hagel, first one.
Okay, let's start with Tampa. And this is gonna
what did they get?
They got Brendan Hagel.
Okay.
2 firsts and a fourth.
Yeah.
No, 2 firsts, Taylor Radish and another guy who is a fourth liner.
Yeah. And
Taylor Radish was drafted 17th in 2016.
I remember him from, I think he was on Team Canada. I remember he had a pretty good World Juniors, but
he's okay. Like I looked at his stat, like he's gonna play. And he's gonna play for them for quite a while. He's not gonna be super great, but he's a player, right? And a player is worth quite a bit. Like not a Marincin, like an actual player.
Yeah. And I think Mark, I know you don't know too much about Brandon Hagel, but I think that Tampa has a model, and their model is going out and getting guys like Brandon Hagel for cheap contracts and then letting them leave at the end, similar.
But you get a first round pick every year. I think it's genius.
Yeah, Barkley.
What's
Goudreau,
the chance? What is it? Now they
Blake
overpaid.
Coleman.
So let's pretend that it's not another first round pick because that fucking was an overpayment. Let's say it's a first round pick, Taylor Radish, another guy. So Taylor Radish, he's a first rounder, but let's just call him like a third rounder. You're getting a guy who is better than any pick that you are going to get in the 28th fucking pick, right? When find someone between 28 and 32 that is going to be better than Hagel is right this second. Like this second. You're not going to find one.
No.
Right? So you can just do it every year. You get the fucking flavor of the week, right? Brandon Hagel is the flavor of the week. And it's like, oh, he's not even that good. Guess what? He only has to be good for 2 months, 3 months. He just has to keep being good for 3 more months. And then they don't sign him. And then he's there for another year. Sorry. That's the extra first round pick, essentially, is they're doing this for next year too. That's essentially what the first round pick. Oh, no, 2 more years. So the first round pick this year is basically this year of Hagel. The next first round pick is next year of Hagel, and Radish and the other guy is the next year of Hagel. Right. So you're essentially just swapping whatever the hell you get for this first round pick that is a 29th overall that might be good in 5 years, and you're just picking up a new guy. I think it's a genius idea. I don't understand.
You still have the option to try and re-sign him.
He's there for 2 more years, and he could resign. But guess what? They're not going to, because they're just going to use that first round pick and go get the next flavor of the week that gets underpaid.
Yeah, it's literally it's very similar to the LA Rams style of doing business.
That's all I can think
works,
about.
But you have to make sure. Like, remember when I said Giordano is definitely going to be good? You have to make sure that he's going to be good, and that's why he's signed for 2 more years. You don't know if this is just like a one-off, right? But
sure.
I would assume like Goudreau and Coleman a little bit less, but Goudreau was kind of in the same boat as Hagel, where it was a recency that he was doing about, kind of like a Michael Bunting.
But he only needs to be good for 3 months. And he only needs to keep being good for let's say he was already good for 5 months. You just need to be just as good for 3 months.
I think it was a fine trade personally.
I think it was.
Would I have wanted the Leafs to do it? No. But I think for Tampa,
that's so stupid though, because we lost.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like you said, it's stupid that the Leafs didn't do it, but we lost.
No. I'm saying I wouldn't want the Leafs to do it.
Okay.
Because they're just not set up for it.
I don't think that Hagel is necessarily as much of a need.
I will say is that idea only works when you're already in probably like the top 10-15% of the league.
Right, but the Leafs are.
Yeah. So then do it. That's why the Raquel thing makes sense. Fuck it. Why not? Oh, we need another, I don't know, Amir, Sandin, really, really lucky. But look at all of our, Timothy Liljegren took 4 years to develop, and he's going to be a decent defenseman. But you could have used that. I don't know.
I don't know if you can say that Leafs scouting and drafting is lucky anymore with the success.
No, it's not. No, not what I'm saying.
But yeah, I think it was a great move for Tampa, and at the very least, an even move for both teams. Personally, I prefer the route that the Leafs have gone and getting a guy like Giordano and maybe paying a first for a guy who's on a UFA contract like Raquel and just going for it this year instead of giving up that much. And that'll bring us to Florida's moves.
So wait, I think it's a total of. Did they give up? So wait. Let me find it because I'm just going to print the total haul. You guys can keep talking. I'm just going to print the total haul
for Florida's.
I love Claude Giroux.
Yeah. Claude Giroux. Sherrod. I don't know, man.
I don't know about that one, though. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
That one's bad.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the Foligno shit. Where you know how I said you get Brandon Hagel and you know he's going to be good for the rest of the year? To know someone is going to be good, you'd almost hope that they were at least previously good.
Yeah.
Right.
The only justification is if Florida does see themselves probably playing the Leafs in the first round, then you can look at it like, hey, Sherrod destroyed Matthews last year, and we're getting this guy specifically to do that in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
You know, and
that's the Ryan Reeves. I have a solution to your Tom Wilson problem.
Yeah, it's that maybe if that was their, but I think it might be one of those good Branson Johnson kind of moves where a GM is just like big guy defense. Okay,
I mean,
you know, so I wasn't a fan of that. The Claude Giroux deal, amazing.
Yeah,
man, they gave up less for Claude Giroux than they did for Ben Sherrod.
I don't know how the fuck that worked, dude. I'm figuring it all in now. I'm trying to look up Sherrod. How many games did he play? I'm trying to look up his fucking stats on Florida's team, and I can't even find him.
But and they also got Peg today, who's just a depth guy, probably kind of like a Ben Hutton similar move. Not very good analytics, but
so they gave up 2 firsts, Owen Tippett, Ty Sminelik, which is apparently a guy who's probably worth around a second, which I saw from one of the Montreal kind of like scout guys.
Okay.
They gave up a 4th, a 3rd. So 2 firsts, 3rd, 4th, Tippett, and the guy who's kind of worth a second. So if you want to, and what do you think Tippett's worth? Is that a second?
Yeah, I don't know enough about him to really say.
Wasn't he drafted in the first?
He was. Let's call him a second. So 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 3rd for Giroux and Sherrod.
Mm-hmm. I think if you look at it big picture, it seems fair. If you look at it individually,
it helps when Giroux says, "I just want to go to Florida."
Yeah, and he has that no trade clause, right? So he's kind of limited there, similar to Manson, I would imagine. Right. I would expect he would have gotten a lot more if he was open to the entire league.
100%. If you see the Lindholm train, for sure. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I get the like, well, they discussed an extension as well. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
For Lindholm, are you talking?
They discussed overpaying him.
That's who we're going to get
really
to
as
next.
much as you think.
And that extension, I would hate it if I was Brody makes less.
When he kicks in when he's 29.
Yeah, and he's had regressive seasons. I would like Lindholm on my team. Probably not, definitely not for as much. I would rather Gio for what we gave up than Lindholm. And there's probably even a little bit more wiggle room that we could have given up to.
Wasn't that a 1st, 2nd, and a 4th?
Yeah.
A 1st, 2nd, and a 4th. That was the Lindholm one.
And that's because they were allowed. So he got an 8-year extension. So if you're with a team, you're allowed to resign someone for 8 years. They're allowed to plug in that extra 8. Which is supposed to help them, and I don't think it did. Right? Because wouldn't that not mean that 7 years they would have had to give him 7? And like maybe in 8 years the cap is way higher, but I wouldn't rely on that.
You've learned that.
Yeah. I just find it really a weird move for Boston to make. I would have expected Boston, like a Chychrun would have made more sense to me because you would have had to give up more.
Isn't that what Krug makes?
6.5? Maybe. Isn't Krug on is he on St. Louis now?
St. Louis.
Yeah. So that
they didn't well, I think he hated the fucking team too.
That brings me
6.5.
to who
Oh, geez.
do you guys want to play in the first round after all the moves?
Doesn't matter. Don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Don't care. I think it's all the same. I think every single team has like a pro and a con of why you wouldn't want to face them. Carolina, because I don't like they're just Carolina. They're probably good. Like they're really good, but like Boston is Boston. Florida looks unreal. But Bobrovsky kind of sucks ass. Tampa's Tampa, right? So Florida, Carolina. If I had to be told something.
I agree.
I don't want to face Boston because it's Florida. Boston.
Yeah, Boston scares me.
Probably Carolina, Florida, Boston, Tampa.
Boston doesn't scare me whatsoever.
It doesn't scare me, but I know my heart would be.
Would we not?
More.
Would we not be the best? The Leafs would leave the fuck out of that series. So I don't want a team that's worse than us. Do you want a team? Do you want to face a team that's worse than us?
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah.
That works. That works out. That usually works out really well.
I should be.
No, I don't see. I think there's no chance we play Boston in the first round because I can't see how that would even work. So I think it's basically between Tampa, Florida, and Carolina. And honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat where it's just like bring on whoever. We're gonna have to beat them anyway in the next round. You know, because any of those teams.
And also, if we win the first round, if we're out in either the first two rounds, I'm just as mad no matter what.
Yeah.
So until we get to the third round, I kind of fuck this team. So we're gonna have to face all these guys anyways.
Yeah. So if your guys' dream trade today and tomorrow, let's say Mrazek gets claimed. Let's say realistic.
He's not.
Yeah.
Let's say we have a little bit more cap space. Are you guys all on the Raquel train, kind of like me? Like I'm big on Raquel.
There's other,
Kempe.
I don't know. Like is he automatically better than everything we have?
Yes,
for sure.
I love his game. Oh man,
okay. Yeah. Then yes, because I don't want any doubt that Kerfoot might end up slotting in after Robertson. That's his spot.
Yeah, Raquel is a second line point producing guy, and keep in mind, when he was not last time in the year before when he had his breakout season, he was a point a game player in the playoffs in their 15 games that the Anaheim Ducks played. So that's the kind of guy that
on that team too.
Yeah, that
it wasn't that great.
Two lines would be absolutely amazing. That's who I want. He's relatively cheap. You obviously don't expect to re-sign him, and you go for it. Right, I'm down with giving up a first and even like an Abruzese.
Maybe a first and something small.
Yeah,
which is fine. Whatever.
So we're all happy,
right? Yeah,
we all believe.
What if we don't make another move?
That's what I was just going to say.
I'm fine with it.
It's because if we don't do another move, it's because when we're saying a first and like a fourth, it wasn't going to be that.
Yeah. I think we guaranteed make another move, and I think what happens.
Dubas gave up a first and a third for Foligno. He's willing to do that for Raquel. If he doesn't do it, or with someone similar under the same umbrella, it's because someone asked for 2 firsts and a fucking like Matthew Nyes.
Yeah, and
or someone outbid us.
I think no matter what, we go and get somebody because we do have the cap space, and he'll be like, "Well, why not? Why not use it? Even if it's not like a Raquel, it'll be a depth player that you'll just have to have." You know, I think he'll just go out and do it. So I think there's definitely another move to be made. I'm kind of on the same boat with you guys. I think we ride out Campbell and Shalgren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other than Fleury is, and I know he's not having a great year, but that's someone that's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that. So no. Don't give me Reimer. Don't give me Stolars. Don't give me anyone. Shalgren obviously is good enough that he doesn't suck, which is all you need, is someone who doesn't suck. And then you need Campbell someone's got to play pretty good. And everyone's confident here that Campbell can ride another streak again, right?
Yes.
Then there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
so what's that?
Oh, I was going to say, we have our first quotes from the 2 new guys.
Okay.
Giordano said, it just means a lot. The Leafs were on my radar. It being my hometown is just a huge bonus. the skill's right up there with anyone in the league. Just really excited to join and help as much as I can. And then they even asked Blackwell, like, what are your thoughts? And he's like, just talk about the excitement. It's an honest opportunity to be part of something really special.
Yeah. What a standard hockey quote.
Yeah. I'm excited to join.
Yeah, I'm excited to join. I'm excited to score more goals than the other team, get pucks in deep, get shots on net, push guys around. We just got to be the better team on the ice. No, I know, Mark, you were talking a little bit before, just like how you might not think that Blackwell makes it into the lineup. Who knows? Who gets bumped out?
Who cares?
Right. He's just that's good to have depth guys like that can slot in.
Yep.
And depends on the team you're playing too, right? You might want a little bit more.
He wouldn't have added him in if you didn't want him.
Exactly. Although you can say the thing about Ryan Zingle.
Right? Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
Waivers claim.
No, I think Arizona didn't want to pay him.
What if they don't want to play Blackwell?
Does Blackwell make any money?
Probably not.
No, but like they could have fucking got another fourth from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. Someone would have paid fourth for him. They weren't going, you fucking take Blackwell or you're not getting Gio.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't do that.
I don't know.
Let's get us in on this conversation. I'd love to hear what they say.
I also did want to point out that someone was like said something about Calgary gave up on Brody and Gio, and everyone thinks that Leafs are like doing so well with these additions, and it's like, do you understand, like, is context and nuance not a thing for you?
Fuck no.
Last time Gio won the Norris with Brody as his partner, and that was a couple years ago, so maybe. And the other thing we were talking with Gio earlier on the podcast was he hasn't had much playoff success, so he's a perfect fit with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So if there's a time for him to finally have some playoff success.
Well, I was saying, stop getting these bums that are 40 that haven't won any cups. Get the bums that are 40 that haven't won cups and are never going to win
cups. Yeah, Jumbo.
That was Jumbo.
Yeah, Jumbo Joe.
Shouldn't have been Jumbo.
He's chasing it. He's just got the drive. Oh, yeah. The 20 years of not getting it tells me a lot about the drive he has for the cup.
Yeah. Well, Jumbo, hey, you know what? He's going to have a great time on the beach and then watching from the press box because they just got Giroux, and there's no way he's slotting into their
he's not playing
lineup. So I think unless it's against the Leafs, and then he's going to score the Game 7 winning goal to
hat trick. 4 goals. He's going to pull the clock out.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
We suck.
Okay. If Din messes that in the group one more time, I'm deleting him. This week we're going to have Nick Barton on, and we're going to have Andrew Pillock on to talk Leafs news and Marley's news, and then we're going to be getting back onto our post-game grind because we're making it to the Cup final, and we're going to win it. And I'm not moving from that optimistic take.
Buddy, turn off your Xbox. Real life.
Okay, peace out.